Oh, who's he going to be this time? Oh, that's right. We've got Changeling into Dechala. And that's going to be for Tzeentch versus Dark Elves. We saw a little bit of Dark Elves yesterday. We're going to see a little bit more today. This time it's Skarbrand versus Lenorm. And we've got, Dechala Changeling versus Morathi. Let's quickly go over the builds as they're already getting into combat here. So Mask plus Aeson is banned, as you can't have two AoE drain effects. But Dechala plus Aeson is absolutely allowed. We've also got a Chaos Sorcerer, Lord of Metal, Exalted Flamer of Tzeentch, some Marauders, unit of Chariots here, the Regiment of Renown Marauder Chariots, actually, or Chaos Chariots. They've got Warp Flame contact effects, quite nice. And then there's over here some Centaurs with great weapons. And the caster, just that Lord of Metal caster. Let's see what we can do here against Morathi. Not we, but Skarbrand, rather. Some Cold One Knights. Got some Corsairs. It's a front line. A couple of Scourge Runner Chariots and the Crows of Cain. So, a little bit more infantry quality this time. 5 Corsairs. Should be pretty decent trading into Marauders. The Cold One Knights also. Very solid choice. Aeson will be potentially tough to deal with here, as don't have any ranged units, these Dark Elves, besides just the Scourge Runner Chariots, so we're definitely going to have to focus fire efficiently to get on Aeson. And the Flamer can also do some pretty good damage. Ooh, a little bit of friendly fire there, taking the barrier out, but making contact in the back line there, as contact in the front line also gets made. Centaurs of Tzeentch move in and actually get a pretty decent engagement, but they are going to get Melkoth's Mystifying Miasma, so that's probably a wash on that engagement. We'll kind of keep it close as the rest of the front line engages here. Maybe the Centaurs end up losing out in the long run. Yeah, we'll see. In terms of value, it's slightly in favor of the Dark Elves in that trade, but more Centaurs kind of leading away this Cold One Knight. And Aeson taking some damage here, dives in, very much just dives straight into the Cold One Knights. Morathi also jumps in. Gonna have some anti-large damage from her as well, striking with their halberd. But Dechala, I never know which, is close by. And some Soul Stealer also hitting Aeson as he pulls back. Yeah, massive damage from that engagement. The Scourge Runner's focusing very efficiently. The Soul Stealer damage, lots of hurt being put on the big Needleth Vortex Beast, a Regiment of Renown, but Chariots come in, kind of body block Morathi on the ground, and then Dechala moves in with her 6 blades to do some good damage. I mean, obviously she's anti-infantry here, just good overall stats and fast, which is a nice benefit for Tzeentch. I mean, I guess they do have, like, the Tzeentch Lord on a horse with a halberd, but they don't really have... Ooh, Aeson goes down there straight up. They don't really have the best, like, combat lords on the ground, necessarily. Village is infantry only, and Dechala is technically large, but she's also quite small, so there's some benefits there for sure. Right now, kind of running around doing whatever damage she can to whatever units come in range. Those Cold One Knights taking a pretty good beating. The Exalted Flamer also at some risk here. But let's see if it can get away. Kind of getting cornered by the Crows of Cain. And Morathi also gets some good strikes here. Some bolts from Scourge Runner Chariot, but Dechala comes in just in time, gets a huge hit on Morathi there. He's using the extra weapon strength dance to just try and hammer through Morathi's relatively low HP. And a devastating final transmutation also lands right now. Morathi does have some spell resistance, but still going to do a massive amount of damage to her. Again, takes a few attacks on the Exalted Flamer and just gets crushed by Dechala. In the meantime, nice devastating flanker rear charge. Does she actually? Of course. She has devastating flanker. But yeah, just sends Morathi straight packing there. And yeah, the Scourge Runner Chariots, let's see, are they actually able to hit? No, they are missing like all these shots on Dechala. That's one of the benefits of being such a small target. Dark Elves being an armor-piercing missile faction definitely have some pretty strong missile units overall. Scourge Runner's been forced to be reckoned with basically since they came out, but Dechala here just showing her moves. Cutting and weaving and slithering back and forth. Unfortunately, the Exalted Flamer cannot do the same and is probably going down here, but ooh, did a little whirlwind of pleasure there. as Dechala was surrounded by cavalry, and it seemed to do some pretty good work. I noticed that range on that ability is not super high, but in particular if Dechala is surrounded by like cavalry or other high health models, it can be pretty good overall. Doesn't do the most damage like a big infantry blob, but the chariots also are coming in super clutch in the late game. Chariots with barrier is just awesome, and in fact they have Regiment of Renown stats for extra melee defense. They also have that Warp Flame contact effect, which means they just do more damage. Basically, it's like they have more base weapon strength since they also deal fire damage. Yeah, it's been a pretty nice benefit. Exalted Flamer managed to hang on with just a tiny amount of HP left, like less than 400 HP there. Which, of course, will, I mean, it has its own Warp Flame contact effect, but lots of Warp Flame to go around here. Will synergize somewhat, but there you go. Army losses, and Dechala takes the win. Yeah, well played by both players. Super fun one for sure. I've seen a similar build from Scarbrand a couple times now, and it seems to work pretty well. Yeah, I like the pick of the chariots here against the Dark Elves. A little bit risky to go this small. I kind of feel like there's maybe a skirmish build that could give this some potential problems. But Dark Elves skirmish is relatively low range, and the Flamer can at least compete at that range somewhat. Aeson ends up being a little bit of a trap unit here, but yeah, very respectable value on those Followers of the Great Eagle chariot. Very, very cool. And of course, Lore of Metal being awesome, but yeah, Changeling into Dechala gets mad value, absolutely slaps Morathi around. Morathi herself gets some value, but ultimately not enough to win the game, and yeah, I mean, the Blackheart Corsairs did the job of killing the Marauders. One of them even ends up paying for themselves on raw value. And outside of that, Scourge Chariots do great. One Cold One Night pays for itself. The other ones get crushed pretty hard there. So yeah, Centaurs end up also not paying for themselves. Both sides, the mobility kind of just died, except for the Chariots. You know, removing the threat of the Cold One Nights just allowed them to kind of go free. So very interesting game for sure. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Yeah, let's just quickly talk about the ranged trade here. So this is an issue for Dark Elves, which is that their mid-range units are pretty short range. So what, 145 for the Regiment of Renown Dark Shards, but that's kind of the longest you've got. Normally it's 125 or 130 for your basic crossbow units. Whereas for Tzeentch, Exalted Flamer has 150 range, so it is sitting within that range where it can actually just sit back and shoot, especially with micro, and not be challenged by these units as much, right? So it's in a relatively safe, not totally safe. I mean, it's close enough that with micro, your opponents can still get some counter volleys on you, but that would be a way for this build to kind of prevent from getting cheesed by crossbows or just range units in general. But yeah, Changeling, we've seen him into Dechala, we've seen him into Redran. I don't know if I've showed Mask Off, but I know definitely other channels have as well. So some very solid additions for Tzeentch here with the Changeling. And I'd imagine you'll continue to see more. If anyone has a replay of him transforming into the Bear Man, please send me. I also want to see that, mostly just for the memes. But there you go. Hopefully you enjoyed. If you like this sort of content, be sure to like, subscribe, hit that bell notification button. Every time I upload a new video, you'll be notified. Thanks again. We'll see you next time.